Little story time now. Long ago, I remember I used to say, why me? Because I didn't understand. I didn't know any better. Yeah, I went to school just like everybody else. But, truth be told, I feel all that school really taught me was how to be judged. Yeah, I learned math. I learned how to spell. I learned how to read. I learned how to speak the English language the correct way. But it feels as though school was nothing but judgment. Because of what you wore, your status. That's a form of socializing, I guess. They didn't teach me about finances. I didn't learn how to hold a conversation in a room packed of folks. I didn't learn how to create a business. And as time went on, I always asked, what could I have done differently? For a long time, I always judged myself hard. I'd always say that things happened to me because I deserved it. I always felt that it was a way of me paying for my sins, as far as anything that I've ever done to, treat others disrespectful, I guess. And again, we all make mistakes. So the best thing I can tell you when it comes to alcohol and tobacco, we only do those stupid things because we think that it's the right thing to do. Again, we're not taught anything but conditioned instead. Alcohol at the time when I did that didn't really bring me any sort of benefit, but instead took away a little bit of my health, And luckily for me, I had an adopted grandpa who sat my ass down and said, hey, in this world, you're only going to get one option, and that's either you're going to kill your lungs or you're going to damage your liver. But you cannot do both. For a long time, I saw my father drinking and smoking, and he looked to be like having a great time. Paycheck would come in and he would spend it at the bar. He would always be surrounded by females. And I'd always have to watch my mother be upset. She couldn't say anything, I guess. Or she chose not to. Either way. And I thought that's what a man was supposed to be. I thought, as long as you put food on the table, clothes on your kid's back, you got this parenting thing down. But again, thanks to that adopted old man who put me on a straight path of righteousness, I guess you could say, I was able to be a little better when it came time for me to become a father. I'm one of those kids that grew up in a time where you were supposed to go out as soon as the sun came up. You did your chores, you headed outside, you got with your friends, you played at some park, you went to school, campus to shoot some ball so he can play basketball or go to the local field and play football. And as long as you came home before the lights turned on the street, you were safe, you know? We didn't really pay attention too much on things that could have gone south. Instead, we just lived life to the fullest. And then one day, I realized that we were brought up in a time where we couldn't show emotion if you were a male. You had to maintain, you know? You got hurt outside, you couldn't cry about it. Your feelings were hurt, you couldn't cry about it. And then somewhere along the way, other grown-ups today say that if a man cries in front of a female or children, that makes him less than a man. But how? At that point, every story is different. And at the end of the day, we should not judge because we don't know what a person goes through. You see, my trials and tribulations cannot be compared to yours. They're different brackets. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, what did we learn and how did we overcome whatever put us down? Once upon a time, in every single family, there's going to be trouble, problems, you name it, whatever. And it's all a matter of how are you going to make things better for yourself. You can't allow the little things to destroy who or what you've accomplished. You got to be better than that. And I guess at the end, what I did for the sake of my children. I didn't really do it to hurt anybody's feelings. But it's one of those where if you weren't wanted in that set location, why would you continue to put yourself in that predicament? Instead, like it said, if there's no respect, you need to get up and leave. And I remember once there was a situation that went down with my extended family, and the partner at the time, mother of my children, was kind of going through some things in her mind. And my second child turned around and set up all her stuffed animals in the kitchen. And when my partner and I came out, my little girl says, "Now we can get the party started for Mama." Because it happened to be her mother's birthday. And I held it in to not shed a tear, because my child, being so young, knew that things were not all that great, but somehow managed to put one and two together and try to give her mom a party that she deserves. And that's called using your imagination. And in my little girl's mind, she strongly believed that by setting up all the stuffed animals, we were all gonna have a party, put some music on, cut the cake, and don't let the problems get to you. And that, my friends, was a very hard pill to swallow. Stay tuned for part 2.